Hi there, this is Josh Erdman, CEO of Systems and Marketing Solutions, and I'm doing my weekly Facebook Live going over marketing tips. So this is week number 8. We've been going on a series of SEO, and SEO is a very large area to cover. Just briefly to catch you up, when it comes to SEO, people traditionally like to divide things up between off-site and on-site, and we disagree. Most of your off-site efforts are going to be influenced by what you're doing on your site and vice versa. So we divide these up in between a technology effort and a content effort. So SEO technology, those are things like making your website run fast, following the protocols, HTTPS, for example, making your website mobile friendly, making sure you're backing it up and that you have a firewall so you don't get hacked. If your website's infected, it'll kill your SEO, for example. So SEO technology is a big one. The list gets to be quite huge, and we have a what we call an SEO technology 360 plan, where we're looking at all the technology of your website from all the different angles. How it's hosted, what type of protocols you're using, if you're up to date, are you backing things up, the whole thing. Today, though, I want to focus more on SEO content, the content strategy side of things. That in itself is going to be more than one session. So we'll divide that up into 2 categories. One of those I want to talk about is the keywords, content of the keywords. And then we'll also talk about content with articles and what you can do inside articles. So, but today we're gonna focus more on keywords. So here's an example of something you can do just to get an idea of how your website is if you are using any type of keyword strategy, and how strong the message is on that. Google reads the words on your site. So if you use a tool called wordclouds.com, you can build a word cloud, and what it does is it reads a page that you give it, and it creates a cloud with the largest words being the ones that have the highest count. It's based on frequency. That will give you a rough idea of how your website is put together. When you look at a brand new WordPress website from scratch, your first page's name is called Home. And it's been frequent when we help a new company trying to optimize their SEO, the most popular, powerful word on their website ends up being Home. And it has nothing to do with the services or the products that they're selling. So it's just destroying their SEO because they're not following some of the basic principles. So what we're going to talk about today is analyzing what your keywords you have and some strategies on how to make those work. Next week, we'll talk about choosing the best keywords. So right now, let's assume that you have an idea of what your keywords would be. And we'll go with the example of being a plumber. Plumbers, most of it will be plumber near me, leaky pipe, stuck toilet, another powerful thing that you should have, especially in the world of plumbing, would be a location. You should list the cities and the communities that you frequently serve. So when you do a word cloud, that simple tool only gives a count of everything. But what we've learned is that there is a weight. Google's going to pay more attention to some words than others. When you look at your website at the top, you'll have the title. And everyone's typically using Chrome or Firefox, so it's tabbed browsing. So if you open your site and you look at the tab, the words inside that tab are the title. And a lot of companies, what they'll do is make their titles way too long, or they won't put anything in the title, and it'll still say that main page name, Home, and that's just killing their SEO. What you want that to talk about is what most people will search for. So if your company name is Johnson & Sons Plumbing, but you don't have a strong brand, it's not as if the whole community knows who you are, then the word Johnson & Sons shouldn't be the first words in your title. It should be best plumbers in your city name, something like that, what people are searching for. They'll be searching for plumbers and then a location qualifier, so put that in your title. So coming with a title is very important, and what other areas that Google uses to weight the important words are your headline tags. And it's important to realize these aren't just the words on the site that are large. It's the words that are large because you've indicated that they're a headline. You can just easily highlight some words and tell WordPress or whatever website editor to use a large font. We're talking specifically, if you look at the code, it's a H1 tag is what it's called. It's the main headline. And then there's an H2 tag and so on. But I would say the H1s and the H2s, what you're using in those headline tags is an indicator to Google that these are headlines. These are very important words. And what we will frequently see is people use the headline tag as a quick way to say, make this text big. And you might want it to be big for the reader when they come to your site, as the plumber example, to say, we're friendly plumbers, we're reliable. But the reality is most people aren't searching for friendly, reliable plumber. They're searching for plumber near me. So we don't want to make bold and use and bring Google's attention to things that aren't important for the Google search. So save your H1 and H2 tags for important messages that you definitely have for Google and for the reader. And then for messages that are just specific to the reader when you're trying to connect to them emotionally and you don't have data backing up the fact that they search for it, but it's something important for them to read, you can make it big without using your H1 tags. Or the other trick you can do is take that text and embed it in a graphic. So it's not just text that Google can index on its own. So unfortunately, when we play with the quick tool, the wordclouds.com, what you have is just a word count, and it doesn't differentiate between where it is, so it's not weighted. We have some proprietary special tools here that we use that can programmatically index your site, look at all the words, give you a word count, but then also apply weights to what we feel are how much more value a keyword is in the title or in your H1, H2 tags. Another important tag area is the alt tag. Every image you have should have an alt tag. The alt tag basically is a description of what the picture's for. Google likes to see that because it shows you making efforts for people that have some type of visual impairment, where seeing the picture isn't helpful, but they run an application on their computer that will read to them the description of the picture. And what you can do is take advantage of that and use the picture and describe what you do. So if you're a plumber, for example, maybe the truck says Smith, Johnson's and Sons plumbing truck. That would be a valuable way to use that. And if the truck is in a city that you service, you might say Smith, Johnson's and Sons plumbing truck in the city name. You're being very authentic, and that's what Google's really looking for, is authenticity in your content. So you're being authentic, but you're also being smart and giving Google the data that you want while following all the rules at the same time. The worst thing you can do, I would say, is find tricks of SEO that are powerful today but aren't authentic, because what's going to happen is Google's continually adjusting their metrics on what is good SEO and what they do to punish people who are trying to cheat. And if you aren't always reading the articles and finding out things, which is going to be labor intensive, and you just build a site and then you don't optimize it and fix some of the tricks that you were playing when they are no longer valuable, then you're going to get hit on that and you're going to lose significant rankings. So my advice to everyone, be as authentic as possible. Google likes it, the customer likes it. So on to other SEO tips. Another popular tag you might hear a lot of is the description tag. Google does not read the description tag and use that for direct indexing to know what you're all about. What it's used for is on the search engine results page. So if you do a search for plumber near me, you're going to get the company name. You'll get a couple sub pages, but there's also going to be a text line that's about a sentence long. And if you don't have a description tag, what Google will do is go to your website and pull up the first sentence or two on your site, put that in instead. And sometimes that first sentence on your site isn't optimal. What you would really want is someone to read something entirely different when they see it on the Google search, in the context of the Google search window. So we highly recommend you write your own description word. If you change things too much, however, we have also seen people's description sentence not match anything on the front of their page, and Google will strip it out and then just pick out what it wants on its own. So the description tag is very important. It's key. It's a helpful place to put your phone number, for example. Now your phone number will show right on the search engine results page. We call that the SERP. And then the last one is keywords. When it comes to you using these keywords, a really long headline isn't valuable. You need to think of headlines and titles as a tag that has a budget, only a certain amount of power to it. So if you have 5 words in there, Johnson and Sons Plumbing in a certain city name, imagine that is giving an equal weight to each of those words, which would be very less powerful if you had 10 words on your title page. So keep the keywords that you're using and the total length of what you're using in your title tags, in your H1 and H2 tags, to be really short and specific with what you do. So plumbing city name is a great one, and then maybe you'll follow that up with like pipe replacement, if that was the secondary thing that you do, or new construction. Let's see here. The other things that I wanted to talk about is just reinforce picking the right keywords. There's a psychology of things that go on with that. We'll talk about this more in detail next week, but what ends up happening is, you being the expert, there's words that you like to use for your industry and your service, and you might decide that those are the keywords that you want. That is a good tactic for your first effort at SEO. You're going to have some type of human intuition of what people actually search for, and you'll put those in. But what really matters is what people actually search for. And that's one of the things that makes us very advantageous with working with clients, is we are a PPC company first. We manage Google AdWords all the time, and we see what sells. We don't manage an AdWords account with a client selling them on clicks and impressions. That does create activity for the site, but the thing that really matters is the ads and clicks and impressions that then result to a phone call. So we care more about the phone call and which ads get phone calls than we do with ads that just get a bunch of clicks and impressions. Because of that, we can also see the psychology of the searcher. What search terms do they use that resulted in business? As soon as you find out those search terms, that's the key. That is the gold that you use in your SEO on your site. Those are the real keywords. So when you do some type of SEO strategy, you should expect it to be in multiple efforts. The first effort, especially if you're not doing some type of pay-per-click advertising, is going to be your intuition. What do you think people are searching for? What is good for you? And you'll obviously apply that strategy in all your tags and all your in your title, for example. Then after that's done, you should see some improvement over a couple of weeks as Google's indexed your site, and you get some of that relevance. Now you have some traffic, you have a good discipline on using keywords in a strategic way throughout the site. And the next question is, what are the best keywords? Let's make them better. And the Google Search Console will give you a small sample of what actual keywords or search terms people are using to get to your site. It's not nearly as powerful as what you can get in Google AdWords through PPC. It's a fraction of about 1 or 2% of the actual searches and total activity on your site. So in summary, today's strategy was on SEO, the content side of things, specifically with how to lay out your content, the tags, the titles, and that it's budgeted. It's weighted and there's a limited budget. And last week, what we spoke about was the technology of SEO. So look back at some of my previous ones. If you're completely lost in the technology or what SEO even is, I started this whole series just giving a huge SEO overview that should be helpful. Next week, what we'll do is we'll talk more specifically about content strategies, what you can do when you are trying for 2 keywords, and how do you make your site relevant on 2 keywords without watering down your message between the 2 of them, for example. Those kinds of ideas. Content strategy is huge. There are articles that you would have to work with. There's going to be some social media plays, and we'll talk all about that next week. So anyway, I hope this was educational for you and helpful. Leave your comments below. I would love questions, especially in creating and extending the series, and we'll go from there. Have a great day.